You graduate university in Hong Kong. You get a job, a real job. You save every dollar. You don't go out. You don't travel. You eat at home. You save for 14 years. And then, maybe, you can afford a deposit on a 400 square foot apartment. That's not a metaphor. That's the math. Hong Kong has just been named the world's least affordable housing market for the 16th year in a row. Not second, not third. First, every single year since 2010. And the generation growing up inside that number is starting to ask a question that makes the government very uncomfortable. Is this an accident? Or is someone making a lot of money keeping it this way? The number that ends the conversation. The Demographia report, published this week, puts Hong Kong's median multiple at 14.1. That means the average Hong Kong home costs 14.1 times the average annual household income. 14 years of income. Zero spending on food, zero spending on transport, zero spending on anything, just to buy a standard flat. For context, a market is considered affordable at 3.0. Unaffordable starts at 5.0. Severely unaffordable begins at 9.0. Hong Kong is at 14.1. And the peak, just 4 years ago in 2021, it was 23.2. At 23 times your annual income, home ownership wasn't a dream deferred. It was mathematically impossible for most people who actually lived here. The system that benefits from your suffering. Here's the part nobody puts in a press release. The Hong Kong government does not just tolerate high property prices. It depends on them. Land sales, selling government-owned land to developers, account for roughly 20% of government revenue in normal years. When prices fall, the government earns less. When prices rise, the government earns more. The incentive is built into the system. And the developers who buy that land, they are among the most powerful political voices in the city. Henderson Land, Sun Hung Kai, CK Asset. Families that have been shaping Hong Kong's skyline and its politics for decades. When the government considers releasing more land to lower prices, it is considering cutting its own income and challenging the most powerful private interests in the city. That doesn't happen quickly. It doesn't happen easily. And in many cases, it hasn't happened at all. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's in the budget documents. It's in the shareholding records. It's hiding in plain sight. Singapore, the city that chose differently. In 1960, Singapore and Hong Kong looked almost identical on paper. Two small, densely populated port cities. British colonial heritage, no natural resources, no land to spare. Today, Singapore's housing affordability ratio sits at 5.0. Hong Kong's is 14.1. Same starting point, same geography, completely different choice. Singapore built the Housing Development Board, the HDB, in 1960. Today, over 80% of Singaporeans live in government-built apartments they actually own. Subsidized, maintained, regularly upgraded. Singapore decided early that housing was infrastructure, not a commodity, not an investment vehicle, infrastructure. Hong Kong decided something different. Hong Kong decided that land was revenue and that the market would sort the rest. The market has sorted it. For 16 years in a row, it has sorted Hong Kong into the least affordable city on earth. Gen Z in Hong Kong isn't failing to buy property because they spend too much on avocado toast. They are failing to buy property because the system was never designed to help them succeed. It was designed to generate revenue for the government and returns for developers from the one thing every human being needs: a place to live. The Northern Metropolis development near Shenzhen promises 900,000 new units over time. The Lantau Tomorrow scheme promises 200,000 more. Promises from the same government that has been promising for 16 years. Subscribe if you want to know what's actually happening, not what's being promised.